Good morning, traders. Welcome to Trading Together. I'm Mel Gacee. Today is Thursday, February the 26th, and it's so good to have you here together with me. I love having you guys join me. I love being able to trade together. It's so much more fun than trading alone, right? Okay, we have got some interesting movements today in the market, quite a bit of movement, actually. We are looking at an immediate sell from the opening. So let's take a look at these charts here. We're going to jump right in. And we can see that at the, well, basically overnight, let me go to a 15-minute chart. It might be a little bit easier to see here. So here's a 15-minute chart on the ES, which is the futures over the S&P 500. And I'll zoom in a bit. All right, Roger, good morning. Gaia Body Elixirs, good morning. I've been loving joining you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. Welcome, welcome. And again, welcome, Roger. Good to see you. Gavilan is here, so good to see you as well. Roberto Gaspar is here. Good morning to you. Thank you guys so much for saying hi. If you're new and you haven't said hi yet, welcome. Please drop your name in the chat. This is friendly, informative, interactive. We're going to try to take some live trades together. We're going to analyze the market, and we're going to teach and train as we go along. So this is a completely free stream. And so feel free to jump in there and ask your questions or put your comments out there. I'd love to talk with you and get to know you. All right. So back to our 15-minute charts here. What happened here pre-market, we were seeing basically kind of this, it's really hard to, I guess, to see on some of my charts, but basically these yellow lines are outlining kind of where we were seeing the range pre-market. And we kind of just stayed in this range until the open, right? So they were pushing it up very slowly, pushing it up very slowly, very slowly. And then as soon as we opened, boom, we got a big drop all the way down to 68.70 on the ES, which is the futures, and all the way down to 68, let's see, 59 on the SPX. So 68.50 is a really important zone, very, very important zone that I believe is going to, continue to get defended here. If that goes, if 68.50 goes, we do have a farther drop below us. Now, right now, after this major drop down to almost 68.50, we got a little push, and we're in this little movement upward. I mean, it's not little, it's a decent sized movement where we've moved up about, let's see, 43 to 88, about 40 points. That's a significant move up. And they've really, really defended 68.50 on the SPX, which they have to. That's once that zone goes, we've got more downside ahead of us. So be prepared. If this current run turns and drops back down again, we definitely could see some more selling. So right now we are down roughly 0.75%. And we are, we've got the Dow up just a little bit over its flat line at 0.13. And then we've got the Russell right at its flat line, just flat, kind of toggling red-green. And when I say flat line, what I mean is where we're sitting right now compared to yesterday's close, right? So compared to yesterday's close, Russell is right there. Okay, Dow is up just a little bit. The Qs, QQQ, that's the NASDAQ, is down 1.4%. So that's pretty significant, twice what we are percentage-wise. And then the, like I said, the SPY is down 0.7. So we also have the Magnificent Seven moving down about 1.5%. So that is also a pretty significant downward move. Now we are currently pushing up to the VWAP here, which is sitting at 688. So we're going to need to see if we push up through the VWAP and keep moving upward. And let's take a look at our volumes. So we are sitting on some pretty good volume on both sides, calls and puts. But puts are winning, winning the game here. At 685 is where the majority of puts are placed and being placed. So 685, does that mean that we're going to come back down and visit that level? It could mean that. We doesn't have to. We don't have to go down there, right? But 685 is kind of where the put level is at on the volume, right? So also 690, we have a high put level sitting right here at 690, which we're not too far off of that. So actually 690 is a little bit bigger. And then on the call side, we've got the majority of calls being placed at 695. So that's quite a bit overhead. I don't know if we're going to hit that, but that's a lot of volume and a lot of upward movement from here. Could happen. It could happen. Stranger things have happened. We get V-shaped reversals all the time. Let's look at the chart. Are we getting a V-shaped reversal? Let's zoom out and see. Could be, although we are getting a bit of a slowing here on this climb. So maybe it would have to resume its climb and continue upward with some strength to give us a V-shaped reversal. We've got, 50 points overhead to kind of go back up there and reverse this down move. The VIX is currently sitting at 19.4, which is elevated. So we got to keep our eye on that. Now it has, of course, dropped down. So what we saw on the VIX was, let me zoom out a little bit here. So here's what we saw on the VIX from the open. A push up and just a very strong push up while we were watching the market fall, of course. And then we hit our top over here at about 10:24 Eastern, which is right in here where our bottom was, 10:24, right in here. Our bottom was a little bit past that, but not by much, just a few minutes. And then it kind of came and fell back down, but over the last half an hour, it's really kind of been just moving sideways. So that's kind of what this price action is doing. Now we're starting to get a little push here. Let's see if we can attack this VWAP and move up through it. If we do that, if we break the VWAP to the upside, could we consider calls? We could. I think we could. One thing to be aware of is that our MACD is giving us tiny bars, tiny sideways movement, which tells us we are a little bit slow on the momentum. We're not moving fast on our momentum right now. We're slowing down a bit. On the 15 minutes chart, we can see that the negative volume increased, but the positive volume is dropping. So that is also another tell. So we need to kind of watch what happens here. Are we going to push up through the VWAP, or are we just going to kind of round over and resume back down? Let's take a look at the gamma. Lots of negative gamma overall in the markets for all the expirations. But let's look at today's expiration. Squarely in negative gamma right now, 2.3 billion for today's expiration. We have a call wall sitting at 695. That's kind of where we were seeing the call placements on the volume chart that we were looking at. We have a put wall at 690, which is above us, right? So that's kind of seems like that's kind of where we're getting magnetized toward getting magnetized towards 695 or 690, very possibly. Then our next highest put level is at the 686 zone. So we'll have to see how we respond here. $500 million sitting at 690. Almost 500 million sitting at 686. So they're right neck and neck with each other. We don't have that kind of volume to the upside, but we are traveling up. So that is something to be aware of here. 691 now is where the call wall is sitting. And this is what I was talking about. If we turn and continue up, could we start looking like more of a V shape? Yes. We are currently piercing the VWAP here. And we are sitting at 6,900 on the SPX, which is a very strong support resistance area. VIX has continued down, sitting at 19.1. All right, could we consider calls here? Yes, we could. $688 is where we're sitting. And all the volume above us on the call side. That 690 does look to be a target. All right, I am going to load some calls up here at the 688 strike, but I'm not in them yet. Good morning, Guy. Good to see you. All right. Still kind of just sitting right here at the VWAP. Let's see what we do from here. If we come down and break the VWAP and roll back over into a negative MACD, I'll consider puts here. Long at 686. All right, Guy. Good luck. So it's 686. You should be nicely in profit. You might want to consider taking it because let's see what we do here with this VWAP. Little rejection, just little, nothing major yet. We haven't rolled over on the MACD yet. Little tiny red on the MACD. Looks like a little tiny rise on the VIX. Nothing major yet. Got to be careful here. Volatility slowed down a lot. The candles have kind of gotten smaller. Broadcom down 6% today. Yikes. So not losing the VWAP just yet. Just kind of holding right here. Going to go back to my minute chart on the futures. All right, another recapture of the VWAP. So just very slow movement right now, kind of low volume. You can sort of see the volume tapering off here. $6,900 is where we're sitting on the SPX, and that's why it's kind of slowed down here. It's a little bit of a support slash resistance zone. Not really going anywhere right now. All right, looks like we might be moving down under the VWAP here just for a little bit. Like I said, no real movement down yet. Still sitting in negative gamma, even though we've had a strong upward run. That's something to be aware of. So again, right here at this VWAP and also at the 6,900 level, that's kind of where we are stalling. If we recover the 6,900 and push upward, we could head up much higher. We could complete a V pattern. Yeah, so no real movement here at all as of right now. I'm just going to have to see what happens. Let's take a look at our daily chart. Oh, there's a little push through the VWAP. All right, let's see if we get some volume here. There we go. 689, almost looking at 689 on the SPY. Yeah, no follow through yet. All right, let's take a look at our daily. This kind of gives us an idea of the big picture. And you can see basically what it looks like to me is a bit of some lower highs forming here. Now this is a long wick candle, but it's a big candle, right? So this candle is spanning 69.50 to almost 100 points. Today's candle is spanning almost 100 points, and we're sitting roughly right in the middle, right? So 69.50 at the top, 68.50 almost at the bottom, sitting right at 6,900, right in the middle. So there's some indecision happening here. Are we going to continue to head down, or are we going to try to recover and move back up? That's kind of this whole inflection point right here at 6,900. So that's why we need to see. So that's why it's good sometimes to zoom out and take a look at the big picture to get an idea. So now again, to me, it's looking a bit like a downward, a lower high downward trend starting to form here. But we also have some upwards, we have some higher lows here. The one we made on Tuesday, we had a higher low. Well, of course, yesterday it was a higher low. It's not even really a low, but see how when we're looking at these lows, they seem to be traveling upward. So this low, and so far today's low, these are traveling upward while these highs are traveling downward. That gives us basically a triangle or a pennant formation. And that is nothing but a continuation pattern. That is telling us that the market is in a range, it's in a consolidation zone, and it will have to break the range. Which way is it going to break? We don't know. We don't know. Right now, we're a little bit more closer to the top than we are to the bottom of this triangle. But they're really trying to hang out here at 6,900 on the SPX. BD, good morning. Good to see you. All right. If we push and go from here, from this VWAP, we can consider calls. But I want to wait a little bit. See how tiny these MACD bars are? They're just tiny, telling us there's not a lot of momentum. All right, I'm going to zoom out to the hourly here and see if we can see any patterns forming on the hourly. So we've got this hourly candle forming right now, green. So we had two really big red hourly candles, and this second hourly candle gave us that push and that long lower wick, right? And then this current hourly candle, we're about halfway through it, is forming green right now. So the pattern we're kind of seeing here on this hourly chart, I'm going to give it a little bit more time. Let's do 90 days. The pattern we see here is really nothing but range bound, up and down, lots of jumping around, right? Up. So we see kind of, if you look out even a little bit farther, you can sort of see these rising highs starting in about, what was that? That was December. So you kind of see these highs begin to rise until we hit the peak at late January, 128. We hit the all-time high. That's the peak. And then we start to see these lower highs. So see how they're rising here and they're shrinking here. That's kind of what we're starting to see. The bottom is, it's kind of up and down. The low down here that we're trying to protect is this 67.75 right there. And then we've got, you can see I've got all my lines drawn here, 6,800. But the real flip zone is going to be right here at 6,850. That's where we really need to protect. And you can see we dipped all the way down almost to it and then bounced. So that's why I've got it in yellow. This is the real flip zone. If we lose this level, we've got a lot farther down to go. All right. Looks like Guy made 43% on those calls. Nicely done, Guy. All right, just sitting here at 6,900, not really going anywhere yet. So yeah, so this hourly chart is kind of telling us this climbing and shrinking story. And this current hourly candle, while it is green, it's not super strong. It's kind of sitting right under here. Still, again, right there at that 6,900 level. I'm going to move over to the SPY just so we can see the volume on this hourly chart. So you can see we've got big volume here on this 10 o'clock candle. That was during that bottoming out period. And then this current candle is really not giving us much volume, at least not at the moment. And again, that candle's got about 25 minutes to complete. So not much volume on this little green. So we'll see what happens here. We're still fighting the VWAP here. We're still fighting 6,900. The VIX is still kind of doing this sideways move. It went sideways and then stepped down, but really kind of sideways since about 20 minutes now. All right, I'm going to head back to my 1 minute. Here we go. All right, little break of the VWAP here. Nothing much, nothing too exciting. And I'm going to take a look here at NVIDIA and the Qs. That's kind of what I was following yesterday as well. What happened is we had earnings on NVIDIA and they did great. They beat, everything looked good. The stock jumped after hours and then immediately came down. And right now, NVIDIA is down almost 4%. It's recovering a little. It was down up to almost 5% earlier today, but did recover a little bit so far recently. Okay, here's a little break of the VWAP here. Let's see. The Q's chart is not looking all that different from ours, is it? It's actually looking very similar. Nice little drop there, just a little one, nothing major yet. Losing 6,900 just by a little bit. We're only under it by about 4 points, so nothing to be too excited about yet. Could we consider puts here? That's a nice jump on the VIX. Yes, we could with this pretty decisive break of the VWAP. If I were to look at puts, I'd be looking at the 688s. I love getting out just before it turns. Good call there, Guy. It was, I think your clue was how long it sat there on the VWAP. So I think you made the right choice there for sure. All right, it's not dropping super hard right now. There it goes. As soon as I say that, it drops. I'm going to try. I'm not going to try it yet. I was ready to jump in on this put, but I'm hanging in there. Hang on. Do you have a rising VIX, 19.4? Okay, let's see if they try to recover 6,900 or if we continue dropping. There we go. Okay. 68.91. $68.89. Okay. What I'm watching is this level right here on the Qs, 607. Hasn't broken it yet. I need to see that break. Little bounce here from that zone. All right, I'm going to take a look at NVIDIA. Very sideways. Very sideways on NVIDIA here. So we had the same similar drop on NVIDIA that we did on the SPY. We didn't quite hit the VWAP on NVIDIA. It came up a bit and then rejected back down again. Good morning, Aggie. Good to see you. I'll tell you exactly what I mean about breaking on the Qs. What I'm looking at in this chart, I have what's called a volume profile indicator, and it gives you the high and the low, basically, of the range of the trades being made. And then this red line is called the point of control. That is where the majority of trades have been placed on whatever ticker you're looking at, right? And so if we go back to the Qs, I'll show you this right here. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. That is the point of control right there, this red line. It hit it a couple of times and bounced. I want to see it break down through it. All right, nice drop here. Nice drop off the VWAP there. Do you guys see how it hung out here for a while and then rejected? Very nice. All right, Aggie, you're welcome. Still coming down a bit here, but we haven't broken this. If we break this, I might jump in with a put. Maybe it might be a quick put. Let's see what we get here. And it might be late, honestly, because this move is extended. Looks like the Qs are still trying to climb. 19.6. All right, there's looks like it could be a break here. I'm going to go ahead and jump in with a put, punch it. I am in. A little bit green here, a little bit red. And I've been having trouble all day with these options moving the way I want them to. The pricing has been challenging for sure. I'm going to jump out here with 4%, punch it. Small trade. There we go. Nice, continued drop. Very nice. Sitting at 68.80 on the SPX. All right. Guy and Roger, if you were with me on my earlier stream, which of course I know you were, I averaged that nasty put that I took at the bottom over here. Remember when I said I didn't want to sell the bottom and I flipping sold the bottom? So I took an average up here before I started this stream, and I just got out of that trade at a small profit. So hopefully if you guys followed, you were able to get out of there unscathed. It was a tough trade there, that's for sure. But it's been a good morning. Very, very good morning. I do love these down days. You guys know I do. All right. Sitting right now at 68.80. I'm going to jump back over to my SPX because I want to see my support zones here. Right here, you can see this is 168.75. That's the one we bounced from earlier. Let me zoom to like a, I don't want a 15 minute. I want to do a 10 minute. Okay, so here's a 10-minute chart of the SPX. This zone right here, even though we broke it, got defended, right? So we came down and almost hit where I was talking about, the 68.50. That's the make or break zone. We came down through it, defended it, came back up over it, and where did we stop? Right here at this 6,900. These levels are so annoying on my chart. Truly they are. But this circumstance is when they come in handy, because you can see really how those levels get respected. So again, we came down to this 68.75, pierced it, came all the way down to this one right here, 68.58, bounced, came up to the 6,900, pierced it, came back down. So those levels are right now creating a little game of ping pong for us. So let's see. I'm going to zoom out to the zoom in to the 5 minute. Here's our 5 minute chart. Look how clearly you can see that level get rejected. All right. Do we want to consider any calls here? Calls would be counter to the major trend of the day, which is down, even though we did get this good push here. Calls would be counter to that. However, we are getting some signals for calls right now. The MACD hasn't quite rolled up yet, but it's wanting to. It's getting close. We're right in between levels. So I don't think I want to take a call here. We're right in between these levels. The overall feel for the day is negative. And see how this, when I was talking about this, guys, remember when I said I'm not really interested in taking trades when these MACD bars are so tiny, all in through here? That would have been a tough trade to win. It really didn't go very far, and it was really just kind of tiny moves. So I do kind of look for that. I like to see the MACD getting stronger and brighter, which that put that we just took, that's why. It was getting stronger and brighter, looking a little bit healthier on the momentum side. Okay, if we push back down here through the moving average and the MACD turns bright red again, we might consider puts. Let's watch and see what the VIX does. Again, we're between zones, so I want to be careful of that as well. 68.75 right below us. Is there enough room to make money? Yes. Is there enough room overhead? Yes, there is. We're at 68.87 up to 900. So we're right in the middle. We've got room on both sides to make money of a tag of either one of these levels. All right, Roger. Donna got into the put at 276 at 1025 DCA'd for a new basis of 216, still negative, now at $1. Thoughts? Suggests she DCA again if you get in a put for $1, which would bring her basis to 150. But let's see. She's at her average is 216. Let's take a look at that put. What? Roger, I don't remember the strike. Hold on a minute. Let me double check it. 686, right? Okay. 686 put is trading right now at 106. That's a lot. It would be a risky move to DCA again. It would be very risky. It makes the position really large. You can do it. I think we could come back down and test this 68.75 or go as low as 68.50 today. She broke your 50% stop loss rule. I know. I did too, Roger, on that trade when I dollar cost. But that's when I usually make the choice, when I dollar cost average, is when I'm at 40 or 50% negative. Basically, to get out of this trade alive, she'll either have to take a larger loss or dollar cost average. I don't know that it's going to come all the way back up to $2, but it could. It would need to go to get to where she would need it to be profitable. We would need it to go basically 2 more strikes. So 684, that's tough. Could we get there? Yes, we've been there today. We got there. Could we come back down and retest that low? We could. It's a bit of a long shot. So either she would have to dollar cost average again or take the loss. And it's a tough call, honestly. I do think we've got a chance at hitting these next two levels. All right, Gavilan was not able to get out, down 10%. On the one we just took, Gavilan, we are coming down, so you could be better than 10% right now. $68.80 is where we're holding at the moment. That's this little bottom right here. I'm going to move this back to the 1 minute. All right, Gavilan, hopefully you're seeing some green or break even there. We are lower than where we bought. VIX sitting at 19.8, so doing the slow climb right at where it was a few minutes ago. Let's see. Let's see if we try to hold here. Out with 4%. I think that's what I got out at the first time. Nicely done, Gavilan. All right, getting a little bit oversold here. Coming right up to this support zone. We're right at it. Not going to take a trade right here at this support zone. I'm going to wait. It might break, and it might not. So pretty much all of the Mag 7, except for Meta, and Meta's right there about ready to dive. All of the Mag 7 is red. The Mags ETF now down 2%. I need to take a quick look at that. Okay. So again, still looking very similar to our SPY chart, extremely similar. Look at that. You can see the similarities. Right, so down 2% on the mags. Let's get back to, I want to look at the Qs one more time. Okay. They're all looking pretty much the same, aren't they? Roger's saying, good job, Gavilan. Yeah, absolutely. Great job. All right, I'm going to get back to the SPX because I want to look at that support level. Look at how it's slowing down right here. Just tagged it and held it. Tagged and held so far, but this doesn't look super convincing. These candles are not looking very convincing to me. If we bust down through here, I might consider another put. Even though it's super extended, it's an old move. Look how old this MACD is. Very old. We are getting a little bounce here. David Rees. Hey, Ms. Gacee, happy Thursday. How are you doing today? Good to meet you, David Rees. Thank you for joining, and happy Thursday to you. Welcome, welcome. We are taking some trades here today. We took a quick put earlier, and now we're just watching these support levels, David. But thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. All right, Roger, her basis is 187. So we'll do it, to 684 by the end of the day. Remember yesterday's drop at the close. Yes, agreed, Roger. David, yes, thank you. Awesome. Let's look, 187. Let's take a look at that, Roger. She could get there. Let's see. Right now at the money. Yeah, I think you got a good shot. We only really need it to get at this point for her 187, probably needs it to get to 686. I think 680, a little below 686, somewhere 686.5 roughly. It's just a rough estimate in my head, but I think that's very doable. We are sitting at 686. So what percent is she down, Roger? All right. I was worried for a second. I was earlier in my trade as well, Gavilan. I know the feeling. So glad you got out with a little win there. A little win is bigger than a big loss any day. All right. Looks like we're going to come test this level one more time. And we are coming up to the end of the stream, but let me give you my final thoughts on the morning. Basically, it's a negative day, and y'all can see that by looking at it. It's a negative day. I'll tell you what I kind of see here. It's a big wonky H. You see it? Here's the stem. Here's the hump of the H. It's a big wonky H. H patterns are my favorite put patterns to trade. I love them. All right, Roger, her strike is 686, so it's $1.40 now, another 50 cents quickly, or $1 in the next hour. She's down 30%. Great, on a larger amount. 30% is not bad, Roger. I think you should at least be able to break even. And the rule is when she's in a big position like that, even if you don't get to break even if you get to like -5 or -10%, go ahead and take it, because that kind of a loss, that's not a big deal if she gets down there. So if you see the break even or even a -5, -10, go ahead and take that. If it starts climbing, then that's going to be hard when you're sitting in a big position. So it's really important to manage and protect that capital. All right, so good luck. Good luck, Donna, to you. Good luck. Okay. So the H pattern, generally, when it continues and repeats, I'm not saying it's going to do that today. It could be on the bigger time frame, but basically, watch for the H. So we get this leg down, we get the hump, and then we get another leg down, and we'll get a hump. That's my favorite put pattern to trade. And I'm not saying we have the H here. To complete the H, we've got to get down here to the low. But it's looking like it's starting to do that. If we come down here and hit this low, we could go lower. All right. Roger, totally agree. Being down is not a good time to get greedy. I'm with you, Roger. I'm with you on that one. Gavilan, thanks everyone. Thank you guys. It was so fun having you join me. Thank you to everybody who's new here, and thank you to my friends who are showing up here every day. It's so much fun to trade together. I appreciate you all. Remember PPI in the morning, so be careful if you're holding anything overnight. PPI data pre-market can move the market either direction. We don't know. So just be aware of that. And good luck, Donna. I've got my fingers crossed for you. And we will see you all tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.